Wife cheated, no begging to come back. This is my first post, although I've been following the proceedings since it all started. So this is all relatively new. My wife of 5 years and I have been together for 13 years, and she was caught cheating the first week of May. And I discovered DM that painted the full picture, and it still hurts just thinking about it. She started chatting to this person around the beginning of March, and it wasn't until the end of March that I began to notice a difference. More social media selfies, more frequent visits to the same club/bar, and this is where she met this guy. She would travel with her pals, as well as her mother and sisters, so at first I didn't pay attention. But when she began planning a trip to this location, which was out of character for her, I realized something was wrong with her. I would sporadically check her phone, but it had a complicated password and other red signs, so I wouldn't bother. I called her out on the divide between us a week before I found her, since I'm sure all of you are familiar with how a cheater behaves, and she responded by saying she believes we should be separated because we are too different, blah, blah, and she was right, blah, blah. Consequently, I agree with her and tell her that if she wants to separate, she must do so immediately. We also agree that I will give her time to find a place to live because I have always been the primary breadwinner. However, we do have an 11-year-old son, so she has chosen not to work for a long time. The next week, I discover the DM and confront her through text. All she says is that she will be coming to retrieve her things while I'm at work the next day. As a result, she moved in with her sister since she has no work and no money. We both agree that no matter what happens, we will always split the money 50/50 with our kid. The day I found her was May 4th. She had had no communication with me for the previous 2 weeks, and her own sister and mother were both upset with her and attempting to be a shoulder to rest on while I was going through the Hing I was going through. Sleeping and eating were impossible, and since I own my firm, attempting to keep everything running has sapped every ounce of energy I had left. Knowing that she threw everything away for a man at the club makes me ill, as does the thought of what she is putting our kid through for her own selfish ambitions. I have not always been a great husband, by any means, but I have always been a dependable provider for my wife and myself and our children. And to add salt to the wound, she begins posting falsehoods on social media, claiming that we have been separated for a long time and that we are going through a divorce, as well as claiming that she has met another man. However, everyone who is close to me is aware of the reality. I chose to begin the divorce process via mediation because, at least for the time being, we are on the same page on practically everything, but I am certain that will change. Following about a month of and no contact, me simply avoiding knowing anything about her and her new life, I began to gather my strength once more and begin looking forward to the future, when she sent a half-hearted apology text for the first time, admitting she was wrong, which I ignored because it had nothing to do with our son or divorce. After a week, she sent a half-hearted apology text for the second time, admitting she was wrong, which I ignored because it had nothing to do. After a few more the next day, stating she wanted to chat and how sorry she was. She sent me approximately 100 voice messages and texts the next day, pleading for forgiveness and asking me to take her back, saying she was blinded and would do everything to make things right. According to what I've learned, she was arrested for DUI just a few nights before, and it appears that without me to hold her hand, her world is crumbling around her all of a sudden. I've always believed that I was karma and that it would eventually catch up with her, but I honestly didn't expect it to happen this quickly. And for a brief moment, I felt a small sense of relief after the month I had just experienced, but that feeling faded quickly, and the small progress I had made over the previous week has been undone. I am remaining strong, but there is that little devil in the back of my mind tempting me to see if she is willing to change, but trust me, I know it is just a desperate attempt by her. This is still going on, and she continues telling me that she will prove to me that she is a better person. But I was better off when she was just living her best life at the moment. There are so many more details that make it even more get up. But here is the gist of it, and thanks to anybody who takes the time to read it. Sorry for the book, and it was a badly written one at that. This sub has provided me with a safe haven where I don't feel alone. Have read what I wrote again and wanted to add a few more information. When I discovered the DM, she had been sleeping with this person for at least 3 weeks before she requested a separation, explaining that she was going to the shop or her sister's place when she was going to meet him. After work, I would take my kid to practice and then go to the gym, which was sort of my pattern. She would take advantage of the opportunity to sneak around. And that's just what I know since they corresponded via SC and Instagram, so who knows how many other times she lied through SC messages that were deleted. Lastly and most importantly, when we first discussed separating divorcing, she stated that she didn't want anything in return other than 50/50 custody of our son. But when I reiterated the fact that we cannot live together and be separated through text, she exploded and told me that this was her home and she would not leave, that I was the one who was legally required to leave, and that I was the one who needed to leave. She must have seen something on Instagram, I think. The next day, I discovered her old phone and was able to go into her social media accounts since she uses the same password for everything. I cannot fathom what type of she would have put me through if I had not discovered her previous phone and social media accounts the next day. I just wanted to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for your words of encouragement and invaluable advice. I was blown away by the number of individuals who took the time to read and comment. I will definitely provide updates and make an effort to respond to each and every one of you. Story 2. Am I, 19F, wrong for touching myself while dating my 20M boyfriend? My boyfriend and we have been dating for a year now, and for the most part he has treated me really good. We live together, I cook and he cleans the dishes, we divide all chores. I don't work because when we first started dating he told me he would take care of me and I didn't have to work. Of course I told him thanks, but I will find a job once I get an ID. I've been having problems getting one. My mom lost my birth certificate, and for some reason VitalCheck thinks I'm not a valid person anyway. So a couple weeks ago or so my boyfriend caught me using a toy on myself. That past week he hasn't been feeling in the mood and told me he was just tired. So, when he rejected me for the 100th time of the week I just did it myself, and he walked in. He started yelling and saying I was cheating. I calmed him down and explained why I did it, and he ended up saying he should have just did it with me instead of getting mad, and did me. Well, today, I woke up to getting slapped in the face by him. It felt really hard. I woke up immediately to him yelling. He said I was touching myself in my sleep and I'm definitely cheating on him. Who am I dreaming about? I didn't even have a dream. I tried to shake the shock of the slap off and I said I didn't. No, I was asleep, etc. Maybe I was touching myself, but I was dead asleep, and I didn't consciously make the decision to do it. He already told me he didn't like it, so of course I wouldn't do it again. I started crying and didn't know what to say. He calmed down and tried to do me again, but I said F it no. You're not getting any after hurting me. He tried to explain more how he didn't like it because he thought it was disgusting, especially if a girl does it, and how he had the same rule with his ex and was happy with it. I said that doesn't justify slapping me. He is saying it's all my fault. What should I do? Now look at some opinion. Keep your head up, keep moving forward. She has made her choices willingly and deliberately to be in the position she is now in. If you haven't done it already, lawyer up. Get this show on the road, get the evidence you need to prove infidelity. If you're in a no-fault state, you're probably going to be taken to the cleaners money-wise. If you have a joint bank account, take out half so she can't empty it all in a night. Get a counselor for you and your child. You're going to have to make time to get your head right, and you're going to have to protect your child as much as you can from using poor emotional outlets in this extremely stressful time. It will get better. Don't let her bring you back down to her level. If she wants to go out and break her vows by banging strangers from the club, that's on her. If she wants to break the law by getting drunk and driving, that's again her poor choice. If she had a problem with how the marriage was going, there were dozens of acceptable ways to go about expressing those. Infidelity isn't one of them. Good luck. Most of us have been there, and all of us will listen. Thanks for the words of advice. And yes, I live in a no-fault state SMH. She says she doesn't want anything the house the business act, but I already know that will change and have a lawyer on standby for when that happens. Get a separation agreement written out, signed, and notarized while she is in an amicable mood. Things will most likely change once she realizes you are gone for good. You should already be getting all the paperwork done and getting ahead of the curve. I know it's tough, but you have to protect yourself from her. You have to think of her as an adversary now. She will be out to get your assets and your mental well-being.